Hi! Welcome back to my channel. Happy spooky season! Oh, I'm slobbering. One second. It's the time of the year where I get extra spooky. In this video, we are doing a vampire. And not just a drawing, a painting. We're doing something 3D. We're doing a sculpture. So why don't you go meet me at the desk? Quit being weird. Quit looking at me. So my inspiration for this whole project was these coffins that I buy at Michael's for like 25 cents like 4 years ago. I didn't know what to do with them, but I knew I wanted to use polymer clay on top of them and make some kind of sculpture. With this project, I wanted to make a design just so I could go based on something. Since these caskets, coffins, things were giving me vampire vibes, I wanted to do like a crazy vampire skeleton on the inside that's removable, and then on the outside, maybe like a memorial type thing. In my head, I was kind of thinking of this piece being like a locket. So if you think about like those old time lockets where they would have a portrait of the person on the outside and then on the inside they would have like a locket of their hair. To me, this is kind of the same realm where it's like they carry their head around. But anyways, this is the finished sketch of the skeleton, and I gotta clean up the casket a little bit. Now, when it comes to polymer clay and pretty much making these kind of figures, I'm no snob. I will use whatever's cheap and whatever I think will last long. And also, make sure you use 90% alcohol because it will help you soften the clay so much. And of course, with all my sculptures, I make this little armature with this thick wire and aluminum foil. I did have to remake this armature because it was just too big, but it ended up working out. Oh, when I tell you this was a pain in the ass. Oh, the smaller you work in pretty much anything, the worse it's gonna be with details. It sucks. So one thing I did forget to mention is that between adding more and more detail and layers on top of this sculpture, I'm actually baking in between that process so I can have a pretty strong base so I'm not like removing details and kind of messing things up. Does that make sense? So in between refining like the nose holes, the eye sockets, I'm actually baking and making sure I have a firm base. And also with the teeth, I wanted to make sure the jaw was sturdy enough so when I'm adding the teeth holes, it's not gonna mess up the other details. Now that the skull is done, it's time for the teeth. Now I did use glow-in-the-dark polymer clay for pretty much this whole skeleton. I kind of mixed it in with some white, but the teeth are gonna be pretty much all glowy. Oh, I can't wait to show you what it looks like. Oh, it's gonna be kitty. Oh, let me calm down. I'll let y'all watch while I form the teeth. Now this was another pain in my whole ass because I didn't really measure the teeth well, so I kind of just had to guess what the teeth would look like. Does that make sense? But it ended up working out because I kind of soft baked the clay so I could still kind of shove the teeth in before final baking. Ooh, and I cannot forget those fangs, those vampire fangs. I will say it kind of ended up looking like a werewolf just a little bit, but it's still spooky. Check that out. And now it's time for the final details, so I'm just sanding it down, making sure I have a pretty good surface for the paint. Now this might sound crazy, okay? And I know I might get some comments of some people like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I did use oil paint to paint the surface of this sculpture. And not only that, I did use oil paint to mix in with the polymer clay to color it, but I'll get more into that later. So now that the skull is all done, which I will show you in the end because I don't want to spoil it, it's time for the front of the coffin. What vibe did I want? And you know what vibe I wanted the most? Is vampire in Brooklyn. Ooh, flat tops, bright colors. And we don't see a lot of black vampires, so I wanted to do like I said, like a memorial. So this is what the vampire looked like when he was still alive, and then obviously the skeleton is his head. Rest in peace. I was excited, but also very nervous because it was a little strange getting the form right. It's the way I had to redo this face like 1,000 times. I just couldn't figure out how to get the form to look right on a flat surface. Like if it was just all 3D and I was just working with the ball, it'd have been a lot easier. But because I was working on a flat surface, it was hard to get the dimension I wanted. And because I used glow in the dark for the skull, I had to incorporate it somewhere in the front, and I chose the eyeballs, so the eyeballs will be glowing soon. So just be patient because we are almost done. Now, I don't know what the hell got into me, but putting metallic for the hair was not it. But that's probably one thing I do regret about this is, why did I put metallic hair? It kind of looked goofy, but you know, in a way, it does kind of look like a stone. So if it was like a tombstone, maybe, I don't know. Ooh, it does kind of look like slate, so, you know, slay. Okay, we're cooking. Now it's time to get the Dremel out and do some, I don't even know what I did. I probably didn't do much, to be honest. I baked it, but the clay was so hard that the Dremel wasn't doing much to the clay, but it was doing a lot to the coffin. Check this out. I kind of wanted to weather it a little bit and then add a wash of paint to go into the crevices and the scratches. And then I just added some acrylic paint to color this up a bit. I wanted to go light and colorful on the outside, but pretty dark and dingy on the inside. But let me talk about oil paint real quick. So the reason why I used oil paint instead of acrylic on the clay, I thought it would look nicer, it's more translucent, it looks more realistic. But also because I've had the worst luck with finding a good paint that doesn't have a bad reaction to polymer clay. Because some acrylic paint actually degrades the polymer clay, even after baking, so that kind of pissed me off. So why not oil paint? And if you want to fight with somebody else, because I'm going to keep on using oil paint because I've had this for over a year. I made this, spoiler alert, by the way, I made this over a year ago and it still looks just as good as the day I first painted it. Maybe a little bit more dust on it, but you know, it still looks good. So not to ruin the vibe, but I was almost done until I realized the inside is a little plain. So I took this little moo that I bought a while ago because I feel like the red paint was just kind of boring and plain, but adding that velvet would add a little bit of luxury, a little bit of vampire, a little drama, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, this sucked too. I ran out of E6000, so I had to use super glue instead. And also, it was kind of flat, so I had to add like quilting batting to it, and it ended up looking good. Then I found some liquid gilding that I used a long time ago for old painting, and damn, added those final details, and we are done. I'm back. Here it is. Check it out. Let's not forget the skull. Hold on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, I love it. I love this little creation. And the fact that I've been sitting on this for a whole year and haven't posted it, I feel so bad. Sorry. I love him. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Was it inspirational? Was it motivating? Do you want to make your own little vampire coffin now? I hope so. Happy spooky season once again. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, please let me know down below. If you have any suggestions on what I should do next, please let me know down below. It is spooky season. It is officially spooky season. I have so much to show you. It's 2 a.m. Okay, bye. Ew. That just gave me the fucking ick. Oh, ta-ta.